What's going on, everyone? So, the Los Angeles Lakers have targeted Cam Johnson for some time now, and we got a new report from the New York Post that the Lakers still have some competition, right? Some of the teams that were interested have kind of gone other directions, have gotten other players, other pieces, or just kind of decided to bow out. But the report from the Post is that the Orlando Magic, the Sacramento Kings, and the Lakers are the three teams that are really pushing for a Cam Johnson trade. To me, it kind of boils down to who's willing to part with what is the asking cost. To me, right, like, if you're the Lakers, do you kind of like use that as a way to go try to get like a Jeremy Grant, right? Like, everybody's distracted trying to go after Cam Johnson. Let me go and really make a strong push for Jeremy Grant. You can make an argument that Cam Johnson, Jeremy Grant's the better player, but the cost is like double what Cam Johnson is. So you can make an argument that like cost versus upside or potential is higher with Cam Johnson. But I think that the more players that are in the ring to try to go in and get the prize that is Cam Johnson, the higher that asking price, the higher it is that the likelihood of you having to give out stuff becomes. Where if you could kind of pivot to Jeremy Grant, then now I think you're in a position to where maybe you can kind of leverage that and go like, hey, we give you the package, this type of package, or we could just go and get Cam Johnson and like, hey, if one of these teams are going to get Cam Johnson and then you're never going to get the pack, right? You kind of swing it however you want to swing it. Because the other thing is, too, is that if Cam Johnson's gone, two things happen. One, now the price for Jeremy Grant probably goes up because now it's like, hey, you don't got him, right? Like, you don't got Cam Johnson. Right? Now, like, who else are you going to get, right? From, the Portland Trailblazers side. The other side of that is the other teams that miss out, right? Particularly, let's say Sacramento gets him, right? Well, now Orlando, they may shift focus to go get a guy in Jeremy Grant. And now you got competition again, and now you got to try to outbid them, and the asking price is already high. So it is kind of one of those questions of like, do they kind of just, hey, like, let them duke it out over there, and let's see if we can kind of, because you can always throw your hat in the ring for Cam Johnson, but while they're duking it out, maybe kind of focus and really put your attention into like a Jeremy Grant, see if you could pull like that trade off, and then now you can kind of let Cam Johnson. But look, I like the idea of Cam Johnson. Cam Johnson is also cheaper contract-wise to where you could go get a Cam Johnson and someone else, right? Like, so you don't have to necessarily go and like where Jeremy Grant, you could get other pieces, but it's kind of hard, like, given his contract, right? It's like, man, like, you have to go and give up 2 to 3 guys to go get him, where you give up like 2 guys for a Cam Johnson. Also, the asking price is supposedly like cheaper, right? They want 2 firsts for Jeremy Grant as opposed to 1 first for Cam Johnson. But the Lakers don't really want to part with a first for Cam Johnson, which I get, like, on some occasions, like, because there are concerns with Cam Johnson, right? Injury concerns. He's a guy that has been inconsistent at times defensively, right? There's questions like, has he kind of taken a little bit of a step back? But I do think he is everything that the Lakers need. A versatile two-way wing that can play either forward spot, defend multiple positions, right? Also, you got to keep in mind, like, it's different when you're on a team like the Nets, right? And you're on a team like the Lakers with Anthony Davis as like your support, and then even at times you could have a guy like a Jared Vanderbilt, where like Cam Johnson, he's defending the best player on the other team on some nights, where you might end up having to defend like the second best player, or third best player on some nights, right? Like, so again, and Cam Johnson's a guy, 40% 3-point shooter, put the ball on the floor, go make some plays, get some shots. He's still young enough to be a nice upside piece for the Lakers going forward beyond this season. I like the idea of Cam Johnson. If we can get Cam Johnson, I'm all for it. But, like I always say, the more competition, the harder it becomes. Right? When more and more teams throw their hat in the ring, the harder it becomes. Now, this could also be because the Lakers have been active in trying to trade for Cam Johnson. They have been active in trying to trade for Jeremy Grant, right? They've been active on the trade front, period. But, this could also be the ploy of like, hey, we want to get the assets that we want from the Lakers. If these two teams are interested, hey, guess what? Right? Like, Like Lakers, you better pay up. Otherwise, we might send him to Orlando. We might send him to a Sacramento. Sacramento, that'd be terrible for you, right? Like, so I do think that there is a point of leverage play here. But I mean, look, Cam Johnson's a piece that not only the Lakers would want, there's several teams that I could see wanting Cam Johnson. Cam Johnson, again, is a good player. He's a versatile wing that, when he's cooking, he's up there with the best of them. He can defend multiple positions. He can play either forward spot. Like, there's a lot of value in those type of players. And I do think he's a guy that you could slot in on the Lakers and he would be excellent, right? I think you slot him in as your starting three and let's go. But again, it's like, what is Brooklyn looking for? Like, what do they want? Like, are they still interested in D'Angelo? Because there's been kind of these conflicting reports. Like, some are like, yeah, they still want D'Lo. Some are like, no, they don't really want D'Lo anymore, right? They're kind of hitting the reset button. It's one of the reasons they want to get off of Cam Johnson, right? Because they want to hit that reset button, kind of start over to an extent, right? Ben Simmons, he's kind of coming towards the end of his contract. They're going to supposedly look to maybe flip him at some point, right? It boils down to what do the Nets value, right? Like, do they want kind of like a D'Lo and like a Rui type player, or are they looking for something that maybe Orlando can provide or something that the Kings can provide? I don't really know what they would want from the Kings, right? Like, what do the Kings really have at this point to go and trade for another $22 million guy, right? They got rid of Harrison Barnes, right? Like, you got box money, like you got a bunch of like young guys that I guess you could like package up together, but even then it's kind of like, I don't know, it just, at the end of the day, competition is not good. Right? Like, the more competition the better, but I think the Lakers need to still remain patient. I think the Lakers need to still kind of allow things to develop. It would be frustrating if he goes to one of these other teams and again kind of raises the price for other potential wings, but you don't want to sell it's Cam Johnson right? Like, if Cam Johnson was the guy, like, he comes in, I mean, even with Jeremy Grant, right? Like, if one of those two guys were the guys that come in and change that's it, Lakers are best team in the league, let's go win a chip, right? Like, then yeah, do whatever it takes to go get that guy. But that's not the case. Like, Cam Johnson would be great, but there's a lot of concerns. There's a lot of just, injury and upside concerns. Like, I don't really concern about the fit. I think he'll fit in perfectly. But, also it's just like, what else, or if you have to give up too much, now does that hinder you doing something else elsewhere, right? Because if you can get Cam Johnson and you can go get like a Walker Kessler, or can you work something out where, maybe Orlando's like, hey, we still want D'Lo, right? Maybe you're working something out to where instead of Cam Johnson, you're getting Dorian Finney-Smith and Wendell Carter Jr., right? Like, that's something that could play out, right? You could kind of do this like 3-team thing. The beauty is that there's the flexibility, right? There are the options. There are these things that, kind of give the Lakers reason to be patient, kind of let, instead of just jumping in to the chaos, take a step back, evaluate, kind of really feel out, okay, like this is going on, this is going, okay, and then kind of pick your lane, kind of pick which direction you want to go, right? But I do think that there is a genuine argument to like, hey, if all these teams are distracted and actively trying to go after Cam Johnson and are pushing hard for Johnson, maybe you pivot over here to like a Jeremy Grant or something, and you kind of just like, hey, look, your potential suitors, they're drying up, right? They're all too busy over here. We want to get a deal done. We want Jeremy Grant, but we can always just pivot, go over here, go get Cam Johnson, and then you can just keep Jeremy Grant. Or if one of these teams end up giving you what you want, good luck, right? There is that kind of push and pull. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you think that the Lakers know, like, you got to go push hard for Cam Johnson? Like, Cam Johnson's the guy. Go get him, right? Do you have concerns that, like, the price is going to go up now because, you got these other teams? Do you think it's just kind of a leverage play, which wouldn't be the first, won't be the last, right? Now, how do teams want to get the most out of the Lakers? Like, the Lakers have been kind of one of the main teams linked heavily to Cam Johnson. There have been other names. Like, Dallas was a team that was linked. Sacramento's kind of been in the mix from the beginning, but they went and got DeMar now, so it's like, I don't know. It's just, you kind of look at it and you go, like, how Orlando, yes, like that's very valuable. Like I'd be more worried about Orlando than I would be Sacramento, right? Like Orlando, they have the pieces, they have everything that they need to go get a guy like him. So Orlando's the one that I'd kind of be like Orlando could come in and swoop him up. Now what, right? And then, but then you could argue like then at that point it kind of boils down to you in Sacramento for Jeremy Grant trade. It's like, and that's even more money, even more salary. So like again, how does Sacramento get there? Like Sacramento might just get phased out naturally, right? Like to where now you can kind of jump in and go, hey, like we're the only team trying to get Jeremy Grant. Do you want to keep him on your roster, right? Like because supposedly they want to get rid of him. Supposedly they're like they don't want to bring him in to training camp end of the season. Right? I don't think that they'll just give him away, right? They're not just gonna go, oh yeah, it's fine, just give us a second or something like that. Like no, they're gonna want some assets, but I don't think he's worth 2 firsts or anything like that. I think if you can get him for a first, I think you'd do it. But anyway, again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are, love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. It's me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.